You were in that closet twice when Vice President Bush came in?
I was in the closet more than twice, isn't it?
I mean, when Vice President Bush came in, two separate parties, once with a white kid and once with a black kid? Is that right? So you saw him twice?
Yeah.
And the kid had to perform oral sex on her? And what happened after they finished?
He just got up and kind of left, and
D. Larry came from Omaha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Bob Franklin came. Met him in '80, and I met him in '82 or '83 at the parties. Seen him in '80 at rituals. I seen him in '79 at a couple of rituals, but I never really knew who he was until '80, and then I was introduced to him. And in '82, '83, some stuff happened. I met him at the parties. I met him through Bear. And then he started inviting me to his parties and stuff, which I never really had to do anything with him as long as I kept his big shots that he brought in happy. He didn't expect nothing from me. He paid me good.
Who were the big shots he brought in?
A lot of them, I don't know. A lot of them were like senators and congressmen from other states.
State senators or U.S. senators?
To them.
State senators or U.S. senators?
State senators, U.S. senators, congressmen, governors. I mean, that's where I got involved with the Washington, D.C. and stuff, and went to Washington, D.C. a lot. And he was also, I believe, involved with Monarch, because I remember seeing him, or a fat man that looked like him, maybe younger, in the early 70s and stuff when I first got involved with Monarch. So I think it was him. I'm not 100% sure. Off the Air Force Base, which is also where I met Wall.
Which Wall? Name it. First name. I want it from you.
What, Jerry?
What was his first name?
Jerry?
Yeah. Jerry Wall,
Jerry Wall, the FBI. He was an FBI agent in Omaha. Traveled a lot.
When did you meet Wall?
Actually, I trying to go through that. I'm not sure, but I remember seeing him in a lot of the things that we did all through the midway through the 70s up until probably after about 76 to about the time I got away from everything in '86. It's about a 10-year period that maybe, about that.
How many times did you see him?
I seen him a lot of times. Whenever I went to training and stuff, he was one of the guys that was there. I never really got to, not every time I went to training, but about once every couple of months I'd see him.
Training for what?
Monarch.
Okay.
He was
I just want you to say this.
Yeah, okay.
So there's no question about what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
He was one of the guys that did the mind control stuff that would kind of be like the protector. He'd kind of talk to you when things are happening and stuff and kind of try to make you think that he was on your side and stuff and you could trust him. You couldn't trust nobody else, but you could trust him.
Well, see, when I say Jerry who or Wall who, what I'm trying to do is I don't want anything to be for granted. I want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I want it all to be.
I remember him.
Want it all to hang out.
I remember him connecting with Larry King and stuff because they had met they talked several times. Larry King provided some boys for him. There was a party, I remember there was a small kid that Jerry brought to the party. This is like in the late, before I pulled away from the thing, 86.
How old was the kid?
Probably about 6.
Who was the kid, do you know?
I believe it was his son. Because Pastor John showed me a picture of Wall one time and just asked me if I knew who the guy was. At the time I said he looked familiar, but I didn't have a name for him. And then we started talking about something one time, and he didn't have these pictures again and stuff, but he mentioned something about some guy, and so I said, "You show me a picture of him." And he goes, "Which one?" I said, "One with the kid." And I knew I'd seen the kid because it was the same kid.
Where did you see you seen the kid where? You saw a picture of the kid and then you tied it into this party?
Well, see, I seen the kid at the party, but when I seen the picture of Jerry Wall and his son, but I didn't know it was Jerry Wall and his son. All I said is the guy looked familiar, but I said the kid looked real familiar. the reason the kid looked more familiar than Jerry was because at that time and stuff was I had been going through I was going through at the same time and stuff, I was going through memory of all the kids that were victimized at parties and stuff. And his face was one that was at a party and stuff. And I have a tendency to, when I see the pictures of the victims, I have a tendency to recognize them before all the perpetrators, because in the past when I was doing the MPD and stuff even, there was blocks on the perpetrators. There was other victims, there was no blocks on them. But who was perpetrating or who was sexually abusing me or whatever they were doing to me, there was blocks that would block them out. I couldn't see what their face looked like. So it's like when I was showing pictures of them, there might have been a resemblance. Like I know I've seen that person before, but I couldn't connect it right away. With the kids, there was no blocks, so it was easy to recognize him, but I didn't exactly know what it was from.
Okay, this kid was about 6 years old. What was the year on that again?
That was about 86.
86. So the child now would be?
He'd probably be about
13 years old.
Well, 11, 12. Because I'm saying 6. It's 4 to like maybe 5, 6 years old. That was depending on what year this is.
86. This is.
I don't count 93 yet, so 4, 5, 6. I just had 6 years. I don't add 93.
8 years later. 86, you say?
4, 5, 6. So it's been about 6.5 years.
Okay, so today, how old would that kid be?
Be about maybe 12.
Okay.
12 years old.
Okay, you said that Larry King would send you out to politicians and congressmen, senators. So how did you know they were congressmen, senators?
Well, a lot of times when we were like in Washington, D.C. and stuff, I figured it out after a while when they came in, and like some of them had bodyguards. They'd come in and look around. And they'd always be like, they'd always have forward guys that would go in before they would. If they get shot, I guess a forward guy would get shot. And that was mainly with the congressmen and stuff. The governors, we went to different states and we met with, I think I was only with 2 governors.
What state did you go to and when?
There was one out in New York or Massachusetts. I've been trying to figure that one out because where we were at was like real close to either side. So I don't know where it was at, but I do know that I met with Senator Barney Franks, who was from Boston, or something like that.
Is he U.S. Senator?
I believe so. Barney Franks.
Did he molest you?
He had sexual relations with me. Yeah.
Okay.
That's later on.
Is it Franks? F-R-A-N-K-S? Okay, who are the governors? Can you remember? Did you recognize any of the politicians?
I don't recognize too many of them. I didn't ask who they were. The only ones I really knew was Studs, a guy named Gall. Were any state senators from Nebraska, as far as I remember?
Did you recognize, aside from the fact that you had sex with some of these politicians, at some of these parties, did you recognize any prominent senators or congressmen or anybody, even though you may not have had sex with them?
A lot of the parties I went to with King had prominent people, because at Washington, D.C., whenever we were down there, you always had parties. At the beginning of the party, you had a lot of young guys and stuff that were servers. We'd sometimes serve stuff, sometimes we'd be up in the background, we'd be walking around the party and stuff. Nothing was to take place then. After the party was over, the ones that were involved with him, or the ones that he was trying to get political favors from, that won whatever they wanted, they would stay or they'd come in after the party was over, or the next day. See, so at the party, nothing even abnormal. I mean, if somebody was in there and stuff, they'd see no abnormal activities going on, so they would, honestly be able to say that. I've been to parties, but I've never seen anything. So, but I've seen some parties down in Washington. I've seen President Bush there, which I'd rather not talk about here.
What year was that? Was he president or vice president?
Vice president. That's when he was still vice president. I've never met him as president because he became president in '88, and I never went around him after that.
You saw him at how many of these parties?
I've seen him at about 3 or 4 parties. And at every one of the parties, you had a little ID card that you had to have. And they had a little scanner thing, and when you went in, they ran it across this thing, to get in there and stuff. They had they had special agents everywhere, Secret Servicemen everywhere and stuff. And I fell off the balcony of the place. They had a little window and stuff. I was sitting on there and I fell off. Didn't get hurt. I got up, but I dropped my car. And I had Secret Servicemen with about 500 guns pointing, about 20 guns pointing at my head when I tried to go back in. Until our king came over and straightened it out and said he belongs in here. And that was kind of a spooky thing when you have all those guns pointing in your face and you're only about 15, 16 years old. But the reason was because the vice president was there, so they had to have all the Secret Service. But I also seen that some of them, I seen people like Maureen Reagan, which is, I believe, President Reagan's daughter.
What did Vice President Bush hang around after the party was over, or what?
He was after the party a couple of times, and we were hiding in the closet, but I didn't do nothing with him. He was with a black kid, and he was with a white kid.
What do you mean with a white kid and a black kid?
Well, there was one...
Tell me about the time when you were in the closet.
Well, me and this other kid, we were...
Who's the other kid?
I can't even remember right now. He was from the Washington, D.C. area. So he wasn't from around here, but we were just sitting in the closet talking, just kind of trying to mind our own business, because we were staying away from the rest of the party. We were in a back room in the bedroom.
Was this after the formal party was over?
Well, it was kind of during the formal party, but it was after a lot of people had already started leaving and stuff, and we remember that a couple of Secret Servicemen came in. One went to the window and looked around outside the window and stuff. The other one came in, looked in the closet, and we thought he'd seen us.
Was it
He had a
dark?
flashlight. The lights were off. He didn't even bother turning the lights. Come in with a flashlight. Looked in the closet. I guess he didn't really look around it because me and him were sitting on the floor right below him. He kind of looked like this. He didn't even look down. Kind of looked like that and stuff. Turned around, walked out of the room and stuff, and then we seen this other guy come in and stuff, and I didn't recognize him at first.
Was the closet door open or closed?
It was partially open.
Okay.
So we could, we could see out there and stuff. And it's like the two people I knew as Webb. There's two kids that I knew as Webb and stuff. One of them was from Washington area. He was a white kid. And the other one was a black kid. I seen it at 2 different times.
Two different Webbs. One is a white, one is a black kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was from Omaha or somewhere out here.
Was the white kid or the black kid from Omaha?
The black kid.
Okay.
He's one that was from this area. And I seen at the time Vice President Bush go in, and all he did was the kids performed oral sex on him. That was it.
Kids what?
Performed oral sex on him. And
The kid performed oral. Which of the black kid or the white kid?
both of them. Well, first I seen him at 2 different times. First with the white kid, then with
When
the
you
black
were in the closet?
Yeah, we were in
Was
the
that
closet both times.
Oh, were you?
That was our normal hideout. Me, him, and other kids and stuff. That's where we hid out at. We'd go on the plaza and stuff when we wanted to get away from the party.
So you were in that closet twice when Vice President Bush came in?
And I was in the closet more than twice, isn't it?
I mean, when Vice President Bush came in. 2 separate parties, once with a white kid and once with a black kid? Is that right? So you saw him twice?
Yeah.
And the kid had to perform oral sex on her? And what happened after they finished?
He just got up and I left, and after the white kid knew that we were in there. The black kid didn't have any idea that anybody was else in the room and stuff. But the white kid, his name was also Joe. His Webb, and I'm not sure if that was his real name or if he just tried to copy the black kid, because the other kid's name was Wally Webb. Was his name, and the other kid was Joe Webb. But he told us, "Okay, you guys can come out of the closet now."
The white kid did.
Yeah, he knew we were in there because he was one of the kids that used to hang out with us all the time. Maybe like 3 or 4 of us. We just sit in the closet and stuff. And
Well, he used to hang out in the closet and stuff. He figured you were in there, huh?
well, he knew we were in there because he seen us go into the bedroom before we went in there. So we told him we were going in there. He said, "We're going to go in and, in the bedroom and stuff and talk," because that's what we did. We went in there and talked and stuff. So he says, "Okay." He says, "I might come in and join you in a little while." Because it was the only place you could hide from Larry King at. He never knew where you were at when you were there. He always figured you were up in some room with somebody, and so he never wouldn't bother looking for you. So he just disappeared for a while, and he'd go and look in the bedroom, and he'd never look in the closet, which had all kinds of stuff in it, too.
What do you have in there?
clothes, anything. I mean, he was kind of a wild guy. I mean, I don't know if anybody knew that he was a drag queen, but he liked to dress up in women's clothing a lot of times. I mean, you got Queen of the Max, and
You're talking about all kinds of women's clothing.
he had some women's clothing, but yeah, men's clothing, suits and stuff.
Could have been his wife's clothing.
Not in his size.
Okay.
She's a small woman. Yeah.
So did you see Bush there any other time?
I just seen him at a couple other parties, but I never seen him do anything.
So you saw him probably at total of 4 parties.
Yeah.
You saw him involved in the sex act twice.
Yeah.
What happened to this Webb kid from Washington, D.C.?
As far as I know, he's still down in Washington, D.C.
What happened to the other kid? Black
Wally?
kid? Yeah. Or
I don't know, no.
Joe Webb was the black kid, wasn't he?
No, Wally was.
Wally Webb, okay. He's from Omaha.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
I don't know. The only thing I know about him and stuff is what I've been kind of picking up here and there from what's been written about it in the book and stuff, even though his name's been misprinted or even though they use a different name for him, they don't use his name Wally in the book.
What other politicians did you visit? Let's say you still went to 2 governors. One was either New York or Massachusetts. And what year was that?
That was in the early 80s. I'm not sure exactly what year.
And where was the other governor?
I couldn't even say for sure. I know it was down around on the East Coast, though. It was down lower toward Washington, D.C., because we were on a trip there and we drove to where it was at. So I'm not sure where it was from.
Who's we?
Larry King. He was the one that always... He accompanied me, or he'd have one of his personal boys. Well, personal men. Because they had Bodies by God, and they had... all that kind of stuff down there.
Did you ever see Bush in Omaha?
No, I've never seen him in Omaha. I've never been there. But I knew a guy that gave us a trip to the White House one night, and that was a guy named Jerry Spence.
He gave you a trip to the White House?
Yeah, it took me and a bunch of other boys for a tour through the White House.
And when was that?
Well, it actually happened about 6 or 7 times.
Did somebody have
Through the upper rooms where supposedly nobody goes.